Last time on Geek Force, the squad talks about WandaVision. It's so crazy, so wild. What's gonna happen next? But see what we're talking about today. It's not WandaVision on Geek Force.
Welcome to Geek Force, the show where pop culture rules all. I'm your host, Kat. With me today is the awesome G Squad of Ray, Marlon, and Eming. Welcome back, you guys, to a brand new episode.
Oh, we swapped this time.
Yeah.
Lovely to be here. Ooh, I can make myself big. Sorry, I'm getting used to this new system. I like fully clicked plus and I took over the screen.
I can make myself big. Ooh, out of context.
That's what only Marlon said.
That's what he said.
All right, let me close these tabs. So sorry. Okay.
Yeah, take care of that too.
This is so much fun, trying out new technology. Yay. How are you guys?
Good.
Great.
You know.
Great.
Another day in quarantine, another day in a pandemic.
Another day in a pandemic. Well, I don't know if the listeners heard today. Well, this will be a few days later, but today, and I know Ray's going to have something to say. He can say it after this, but after 28 years, Daft Punk has finally sadly disbanded their divorce. They're no longer. And to let fans know, instead of writing like a status or a letter, they did a 7-minute YouTube video and showing where one of them, both were walking in the desert, one kind of falling behind, and the other guy looks back at him like, what? But then he opens up his jacket and sets off a 60-minute timer, and then he starts walking off, and then he explodes. And the other guy just walks off, and they play the song from Touch about, love is home or whatever. And I was just like, and it's titled Epilogue. And I was just like, what?
That's how you break up in the real world.
I was just.
That's how you should do it.
It is.
It's being like, let's do like a weird.
So instead of divorce, we
video.
should be blowing each other up in the desert. Is that what you're saying?
That's how we're gonna go down. Geek Force, everybody, we're gonna be like this weird video. We're just like walking our own direction separately.
That's like a divorce. What's it called? Instead of having wedding invites or gender reveals, it's a divorce reveal.
I feel like that's a very Black Mirror way of ending it. Of great, one of us is gonna blow up when we break up, and I don't know who it's gonna be, but I think it's not. And you just have people watching. It's like, Sarah, no. And John's like, ha, fuck you, Sarah.
You'd have much less divorce if, when you got married, everyone suicide squatted it with a bomb in their chest or something.
Wow, we got dark really quick.
Oh, yeah, this has gone dark really fast.
Wow, that's what down the hill. Just there is no hill. Fall.
Did you see that movie? That Tag movie?
Oh God.
Oh.
Where at the end of the movie they all explode. It could be like that, where it's like, if we break up, one of us is gonna if we break up, the devil's gonna blow one of us up. I don't know who it's gonna be, but it's gonna happen.
Damn, so we have to stay together, even if we hate each other. I would watch that movie.
We signed a pact with some deity, and if we break up, one of us is gonna die mysteriously because of that deity.
It's gonna be a Greek deity. It's gonna
What
be
deity?
Because that's just Hades.
Spoilers.
I feel like
Who signed what contract?
Here's the thing. I think you don't know. I think you're just at a ceremony and they touch the old gods and the new gods, and it could be anyone,
was
and you
Marlon
won't know till
all
you divorce, and it's like, is that Cthulhu? And it's like, no. It takes one of you, and it's like, well, that happens. Cthulhu took my ex-fiance, so.
And now it's a funeral.
That sounds like the name of a new anime.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
Wow, we just made a movie and an anime in 2 minutes.
And got divorced
Right?
all at the same time.
I can see it right now, in the year 4885, every new baby that's born signs a deal, and they won't meet that deity until they break some rule, and the deity comes and claims their soul. This is blah 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 blah.
A weird start to the show.
I'd watch it, just a bunch of kids in high school, and did you hear Sarah got taken by Zeus? Oh no!
Oh, speaking of Greek stuff, there's this really cool animated historical thing on on the Greek gods. It's really interesting. If you have Prime, you should check it out. It's like Greek mythology. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically Greek mythology, and it's actually pretty cool.
What's it called?
I mean,
I'll look it up later and send it to you. But I'm on episode like 12, and it's like they just go in it, all of it. It's really interesting. Zeus is fucked up, like more than I realized before. He's super fucked up. He put Hera in the sky attached to like chains, and like it was weird. It was like, what is wrong with you?
Why do you think the anime, even though Blood and Zeus was horrible, they did the closest thing to showing Zeus in like a media standpoint. Even though they still try to make him charming and whatever, you're like, man, Zeus, you got everybody. Like, I mean, everyone almost died in that anime because
I would argue God of War portrays Zeus more accurately.
That's fair, yeah.
Where he's just kind of like a real, like, conniving and manipulative dick the whole time. And the character's like, I'm going to kill that guy. It's going to happen.
Yeah. You should watch it, though. It's interesting.
But to go back to our actual topic of Daft Punk, all the trolls are coming out. I've seen today saying, why is everyone so upset about Daft Punk breaking up? They stopped being relevant decades ago.
Cat's face.
Yeah, no.
She's like, what? Who said this? I will find them and vanquish them.
Right. Well, you know, let them live their lives. I don't think they're going to have a 28-year relationship with anybody, but okay. But yeah, so it's a sad day. If you're a big Daft Punk fan like I am, you know, we have the records and albums and the mini media things they put out together, you know. I just wish them well on their future endeavors. That's all I can do as a fan.
Ray, do you have a favorite of theirs, Raymond?
Oh, I mean, I will keep banging Discovery all day, every day. And select tracks from other albums, but
I mean, the entire Tron Legacy album.
You know what? I was talking shit earlier, and I was saying that Discovery is the only great album. But I forgot about Tron Legacy. That is a solid album. I always forget that they did that.
Yeah, they made the movie. The movie was okay, but I feel like the music really added more element to the movie than it's supposed to. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to buy the movie. I'll just buy the soundtrack because the soundtrack was just.
You mean you didn't like CGI Jeff Bridges?
It just reminded me of Kingdom Hearts because there was in Kingdom Hearts 2 you do that, so I was like, this is just Kingdom Hearts 2.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure that same technology was used on Luke Skywalker. So,
yo, let's be real. Let's be real. It's literally Tron-esque level of CGI on the Mandalorian.
They're like, Jeff, okay, we're just gonna use this technology here, and then Luke, no one will know.
Let's dust that off.
Except the people who saw Tron.
Being run on Windows 95. That's fine. That's fine.
Wow.
It'll still work.
So yeah, thanks Daft Punk for all the great memories. In other news, trailer news, Disney, you know, still putting stuff out. I totally forgot about this movie years ago because they talked about it, but I didn't care. Still kind of about it, but they have released a trailer of Emma Stone's Cruella de Vil movie. If you haven't watched the trailer, it's out. If you want to check it out, I think we might have thoughts about it. For me, I was not really interested. I was like, this looks like a female Joker movie, Disney style.
Had that vibe. It had that vibe. Yeah, I agree.
I'm so crazy and no one understands. Lady, you kill animals and you skin them and you wear clothes. That's not innovative.
But maybe she has a deeper reason, like some kind of trauma in her childhood makes her want to skin little puppies.
I was living back in the day in the woods and I had to skin animals to survive. And I just love the fur to make me feel like I could go on. And so I must continue to have that even though I'm a millionaire. And I don't care what animal it is. I will steal and I will kill to get that so I can feel the way I feel, which is Cruella de Vil.
I mean,
okay, bye. The end.
Since Easy A, I've been a big Emma Stone fan.
Sure.
she does a good job in most of the things she's in. I feel like she's gonna probably be a great Cruella de Vil. That doesn't necessarily mean this movie will be good, but
true.
She'll probably kill the role. So we'll see. Maybe I
believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. Like I think we're all wondering like how are they gonna play this? Like are they gonna pull like a Maleficent thing where we're gonna?
Let's not even talk about that.
It's like what's the point of this film? Because again, do they plan on making this a one-off film? Or are they gonna try to tie in the Dalmatians at some point? Like if you're doing this Cruella de Vil origin story, is your goal to show her going from like she was in a household where there were just dogs and she grew up being afraid of dogs and like didn't develop empathy for her animals anymore? Like how are you gonna like set up this character? Are you gonna set her up to be misunderstood? Are you gonna set her up to be, hey, she's just been evil for forever and this is just how evil she is? So I'm hoping that they don't try to do it because again, it's Disney though. So I feel like it's a female lead or a male lead, like, and they're also a part of this thing. They have a solo film. We're gonna, of course, show you that they make bad choices, but we're gonna dangle this whole like, but she also donates some money to a local orphanage where she grew up at. Like, how are they gonna play this?
It certainly won't be Joker kind of ending because you're right, it's Disney. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing that I think could make this movie a little better is if it ended like the Joker ended, but I hope that's not gonna happen. So
I mean, if this was HBO Max or some other channel, like great, they're gonna show this deranged woman go in like Ted Bundy on these dogs.
I mean, y'all remember the Glenn Close movie? I still think that's the best 101 Dalmatian movie because Glenn Close killed that role.
Oh yeah, because she was visibly and just audibly insane. Like they said, great, Glenn, just go crazy. We don't have a ceiling for you. There is no ceiling. Reach Jim Carrey levels of overacting. Just go for it.
Right. That.
And she delivered.
But like. Now you're making me want to watch it. I hope that's on Disney Plus.
All of her dialogue is yelled. Like it's just like Glenn.
I know, but then maybe we'll see why she always yells too, because she's always like, darling, da 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 da, and then, and I'm like, why is she like that? But I guess, I mean, if y'all check it out, let me know how it is, and then maybe.
Are you not going to see it, Kat? You brought it up.
I kind of don't want to watch it. I'm not really interested.
You sounded interested when you first posted it.
A movie of a Disney villain. And it was like the origins. I would want to watch Ursula. I think that's a story that needs to be told because there's a lot of backstory there.
But can Disney tell is the question, though?
I don't know. You have to have a good writer because I think there's history with her and Triton. I think there's history the other there's so much, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for that story. But Cruella de Vil, I was just like,
the playboy that breaks hearts. So the playboy like, oh, I'm the only son, so I'm real dope, and I'm laying with all these ladies, breaking hearts, and I'm gonna string Ursula alone. Like, baby, I love your tentacles. You're so smooth.
Maybe she was supposed to be queen. And he left her at the altar, or he swerved on her and married Ariel's mom and, got $7 out of that. And she keeps thinking, that could have been me. I could have been queen of the sea. I could have been the one giving $7 to you. But instead, I'm going to do this, See, there's so much story. Somebody Disney, somebody good. Please write the story. I am already ready to watch that movie.
It's basically going to be like Maleficent. I think they're going to steer away from it. It's going to be Maleficent underwater. She hooks up with Triton. He probably steals some magic from her and says, "Dad, she's not gonna be able to do this magic anymore." Maybe she takes her pendant and puts it in his crown. That's why she wants it, because her pendant is the magic thing that gives him power or whatever. It's gonna be Maleficent underwater. They choose to do it in Ursula film.
Don't do that, Disney. Don't do that to us. But yeah, Cruella de Vil trailer out. Let us know what your thoughts are. Your girl's not gonna see it, so please let me know.
We'll see. We'll see.
Girl's not gonna see it.
I'm not gonna see it. I like Emma Stone, but I'll wait.
Till what?
I'll wait until it's all over and done. When they're already talking about the sequel, then maybe I'll watch it.
Okay.
That better not be a sequel. We'll all wait until it's not $30 on Disney Plus.
That okay. So now we get to be adults and talk about some serious stuff happening in our great world of pop culture. As you know, being in the world of social media and the stuff full of viral and everything, people do a lot of messed up, rude, disrespectful, offensive things, and the whole tagline of cancel culture has arise from that, and people make ways to cancel people because of their actions, regardless of their political views or anything that's very harmful to people. I don't really like saying, cancel culture. I like to call it consequence culture because it's always a consequence of your actions. And so I don't know if this segment's called consequence culture and then we have like a gavel or, some kind of lawyer thing happening. But that's
I don't have a gavel sound, unfortunately. I have a sad trombone sound. Does that help?
That's sad trombone.
No, I'm serious.
Yes. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna say a name, then press it. Ready? Here we go. We go. R. Kelly. Cancel.
Oh, shit, that might actually work.
That was funny.
Great pause. Yeah. Anyway, Kat, you were saying cancel culture.
So yeah, consequence culture. We're gonna have a little segment today to point out a lot of, at least a few that have been in the news recently that actually, has been involved in a lot of things that we like to watch and that fandoms that we really support. But, they gotta go because of stuff they did. And so with that, I want to start with Josh Whedon. So
sorry, I had to try it.
Timing was so much better.
I pressed no for my, when I pressed yours the first time I didn't do anything. That's why there was a delay.
He was like,
I love it.
Sorry, I'll work on it.
It was perfect. I was just like, I'm thinking that was perfect timing. So Joss Whedon, him created, Buffy and Angel, directed Avengers 1 and 2, went on to do Justice League, and, pretty big guy in a lot of fandoms. Since, I want to say last year, Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg in Justice League, came out with allegations about how Josh Whedon was very inappropriate, offensive, disrespectful to a lot of crew members, and he felt like, he shouldn't get away with that. They all work professionally and respect each other, and he felt like for him to abuse his power to be like that, it's just not right, and he was just calling for attention to that since, Hollywood is still trying to build up a normalcy of respecting everybody. And, WB and even DC kind of was trying to make him be quiet about it. They went through a lot of back and forth throughout last year. And, since then it was pretty quiet. But then, I don't want to get her name mixed up. Is it Charisma Carpenter? Charisma Carpenter. Mm-hmm. Last week I would say, she wrote on her Instagram a whole post about working with Josh when she was on Buffy. And it really kind of connected things to what Ray was saying. Not our Ray, but Ray Fisher. And
he's also important too.
I mean, yeah. And then other people from Buffy start speaking out, and now it's like the whole media and the whole world are like, oh, okay, let's turn our attention back to Whedon and be like, okay, so maybe we should start investigating him. And so that's where I kind of am like, so this man there's probably so much evidence of him doing whatever he wants to do, but people are like, whatever, I'm coming in to get my paycheck. For people to have the time to say things, it's like they're getting shut down and stuff, and that's kind of sad. But I just find it interesting that to get away with such stuff for a long time. I know that's such a Hollywood thing, but I mean, as an actor, especially an actor of color, because Ray Fisher is black, in case our listeners didn't know, he's a black man. it's interesting that always it has to be like a woman or a person of color to actually have to say something, and then everybody's just like, psh, you're fine, until it's many people, and then that's when the whole consequence culture comes in, and it's like, okay, we need to, throw down a gavel and take care of this. But I'm like, how do you take care of this? How do you stop people like this? Because it's like, it's interesting that we're talking about it, but like, what are we talking about? How do we get to a solution? How?
To be clear for people, it's a lot of him being a jerk. Director is more so what it is. It's less about sexual allegations. It's less about, right. So I'm just trying to make sure.
Sort of. I mean, the actress who played Hope. Am I correct with that? I can't remember. But Buffy's sibling in the show, she came out and she said a thing that there was a rule on set that he can't be alone with her in a room. So I don't know. She didn't explain it, but it seemed very obvious what that meant, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of stuff like hinted, but not. I feel like they can't say things because I guess that messes up an investigation. I don't know, but there's just a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, it's like, weird because I feel like it's weird to me that that is the level of detail we're getting when like people like Matt Lauer,
Harvey Weinstein,
what's his name, Kevin Spacey, like all these other people have more details about stuff. Maybe not at a time, but like it's a hard one for Whedon from my perspective. Not necessarily hard because he's done stuff, mostly hard because a lot of these cases end up being case by case. Like it isn't an easy thing to just cancel consequence someone that like that. And what you call it, because especially I don't know, especially when it's someone that has like Joss Whedon's different. He has a whole history, and there's people he's been working for years, but like someone new is hard. I think we're going to talk about Gina Carano in a minute, and like that one was a weird one for completely different reasons than Joss Whedon was. Right? Yeah, that's fair. And so, but like, I feel like the part that's hard for me about Joss Whedon is it isn't so cut and dry. That's just like, hey, you are a horrible human being because all of these things are against you. It is, hey, a lot of people don't like working with you. So does that, like, and you were kind of a jerk to a lot of these people, does that mean you just get no more work ever again until you figure this out? Like, are you is there a category where you're just gone? Are you in the category where like, we'll check on you in 5 years and see if you've learned the error of your ways? Like, where is he at in this? Like,
well, he hasn't even he hasn't said anything. He has not apologized. Nothing has left his lips since this has happened.
No. And I don't expect we will until there's some sort of formal legal thing that happens. Right. I don't expect we'll hear anything from him.
Yeah. I did read an article how a Warner Brothers executive producer who was anonymous through the whole thing when they were back in Justice League, when they got rid of Snyder quit because of his because he had to take time off, and they brought Whedon in, and he basically took over the movie, and we already know how the movie was, but those people knew.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, that's another conversation. But those people knew, or at least the higher ups knew, and he quotes, Whedon was a piece of shit, but they needed him to finish the movie, even though the stuff that he wanted and stuff was stupid, and they were like, well, we don't want that or whatever, but we gotta finish it. I was just like, wait, so there's like other stuff on top of other stuff of him being shit. So they just needed his, I don't know, like his legacy to add to this movie, even though...
It bugs me that I blame Warner Brothers for that whole franchise being trash, and that even bothers me. You telling me this information because that means you brought in a guy that sucked, apparently. Your
words,
on purpose, because you wanted his expertise when it comes to ensemble movies, and of Disney and Avengers and Disney and stuff, but then you don't listen to him when he gives you advice. I'm very confused.
Right.
Like, why didn't you just get Joe Schmo who would have taken half the amount of money? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like, I'm just reading up on stuff. Like Josh, or not, but Ray Fisher was like, I'm not getting sued for anything I've been saying because it's all true. And, with all the support coming out lately, it's like it's building more towards the truth. So it is interesting of like, what is happening behind the scenes right now? Are we ever going to see this man again? Is he going to start having trials? I don't know.
Doesn't sound like we want to.
I know, but think about people like Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. They've gotten away with stuff and they still work. Versus
power of being a white man in the industry. Just
right,
saying.
and then
that's part
him,
of it. It's a big part of it.
He's either going to be like that, where everyone hates him, but you have your trusted fans who still going to watch and support because they don't care, and then you have the real people who are like, I'm not going to see nothing, But at the same time, he could be held. He could be convicted of something and be on trial, and we never see him again. I don't know. It's like everything's so hush hush. One day, everything's just gonna come out and be like explicitly like he did this, and it's gonna be like, what?
The only thing I can think of is if someone filed like a civil suit.
That's what
I'm not imagining anything bigger than that, honestly.
I'd like to talk about a few more of these people, but I will say that my grand point on all of this consequence culture is going to end up being what is the general public doing to learn from all these people making all of these mistakes? Because that's my problem that I think is getting where cancel culture is getting out of hand is people are quick to judge and quick to be the jury on all of the public information that's coming out and all of these people saying stuff. We see it time and time again about with all of these celebrities. We saw it last year and still kind of seeing it when it comes to Twitch and video game players and stuff like this. When they have allegations coming out, we see it time and time again where all these people are just getting trashed on publicly. The Republican Party is starting to use it as a rallying cry to they're gonna come with a pitchfork and cancel culture is gonna kill you. What are we how is this helping us? Because if it's I want to see the comeuppance of people that deserve comeuppance, because that is justice at the end of the day. But are we actually getting that? Are we just mobs of people doing nonsense and just throwing fire at doors? We don't even understand what's really going on. That's, I don't know. That's
what you call a coup in America.
That's what that's what I'm asking, Ray, because I'm
it's called a protest when it's white people. What?
But yeah, no, I agree, Ray, because it's healthy to discover these things and talk about it, because we have not had that chance in the past, for however long, people had platforms to talk about. It really hasn't really shown since last year. Last year was the start of, or maybe even 2 years ago, the start of let's just tell people what's really going on and talk about it. And so,
that wasn't Matt Lauer and Kevin Spacey 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was around
seems like
2 years ago.
Something like that.
So
something like that.
More people are coming out, which I think is great. But what does that lead to? Does that lead to creating rules and standards for Hollywood? Does that just create I don't know what? And then as a public, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to be we're going to boycott this and whatever? I don't know. But it's just interesting just seeing it from as an outsider of just, this is just a mess. But yeah, we're gonna go on to our next person is Gina Carano. Is that how you say it?
It was Carano.
Carano, okay. Gina Carano, who played...
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Because she's canceled. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
She played Kara on The Mandalorian, and I will say this, Baby Yoda was right, because when he first met her, he tried to choke her out. That should have been a red flag, y'all. That should have been a red flag. She is quote unquote canceled. I don't know if you want to play the sound right there. She's quote unquote canceled. It's getting funnier the more you do it. No, continue, Ray. No, continue.
For like dumb stuff, like because she didn't know how to stop having. She didn't know how to stop when everyone kept telling her to like, hey, just be quiet, like just stop, like let it go, like it's not as important as this Disney career for you, like, and maybe that's a whole other problem in itself, but like I'm impressed that she got as many chances as she did. It seemed, at least, before they finally were just like, oh, she's out of here.
Ray,
and
do you want to
then she wants to
enlighten the listeners on what she did?
She was just being a well-known QAnon supporter. Maybe I'm jumping a little too far with QAnon, but QAnon adjacent ideas. So let's say that, and being anti-vaccine crazy, if I remember correctly, anti-election.
Don't forget the Nazis.
Fraud was coming up. Yeah, there was something.
Her big post was about the being compared. It said She said being compared to hating someone for their political views in America is to the treatment of Jewish people during the Holocaust in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I was getting to that one because there was some trans stuff I remember at a time too. She was saying, and so like she said so many things, and it's funny to me. It's actually very hilarious to me that the thing that finally got her canned was her making a Holocaust comparison. It's just hilarious to me. She can say all these other things, and it's halfway fine for Disney. But as soon as that happens,
they're still trying people for the Holocaust even now. So yeah, they're gonna have something to say about that.
So I don't. And now she wants to cry wolf and yada yada, and they're attacking me, and this isn't fair, and all of these things, and I don't know what Pedro's doing. I thought he was gonna be kind of on the side of the firing, but it seems like he's just trying to be everyone's friend, and so
I mean,
I can't really blame him for that one because he's just trying to keep his job at this point.
He's trying to keep his job.
But yeah, so it's just a mess because it's losing the message. If the point of cancel culture is to get justice for people doing things if that's the point, it's lost its way. Like we are off task as a people. I think because the message is getting lost because it's getting distorted by people able to propagandize itself on top of all of this nonsense. And we need to. And it's like when global warming was going, and they're like, global warming, but it's cold right now, and like people were like, but that's not what global warming, and like so now everyone's trying to use climate change. I feel like that's what we're trying to change words because cancel culture got out of hand. So it's like consequence culture and all this other, but it's just like, what is happening? We need to get this together. We need to have a group. Can we all pause and have a group talk and figure out what's the goal of all of this? Because I'm down, but like,
for what?
So Ray, what are you envisioning in this world where we know what the fuck we're doing? What do you?
I'm envisioning a world where people that are jerks and treat people poorly don't have these jobs that are like high-profile public eye like positions. At the end of the day, we didn't want. There's an argument for President 45 about being a bad role model, being one of the most powerful people in the world, and so I don't know. You at least have some people out there that are just making human mistakes. We can look at Jay-Z and Beyonce and be like, Jay-Z was sleeping around a couple of years ago. He didn't get canceled because, I mean, like, they settled that shit.
He went on an apology tour. with her.
Yeah,
it's the only reason.
Exactly.
The
like, so you see these people, like, you know, people mess up all the time. That's not the problem. Isn't people making mistakes. The problem is people getting away with all this schemy and dirty stuff for years upon years upon years, and not getting any sort of consequence until years later, when I guess some people feel like it's too old and other people feel like it still needs to happen. And I don't know if that's any of our decisions to be making, other than the people involved is actually is at the end of the day, if I'm making a point, that's my point, is I don't think this is any of our business. I think the people involved need to be dealing with this, and Warner Brothers needs to be doing some sort of investigation, or like Hollywood needs to understand what has happened here. They probably know, honestly, but like, this is for them to figure out. Like, Joe, all those people on the internet just yelling at Gina Carano's not getting anything done. It's just making her feel more emboldened to say the stuff that she wants to say. Like, that's my actual point, if I'm making a point, is I don't think us being massively involved is getting us much anywhere other than mass attention.
And more
divisive.
Sorry,
stepping back and like looking at, I think the movement behind this cancel culture, because initially it wasn't called cancel culture. Initially, Black Twitter was just calling people out and calling out companies. I think the term cancel culture came from, you know, a Fox News pundit, like, oh, they're canceling people out here, and it became more of like a trend of like, they're canceling this person, this thing got canceled, or this thing got fired, or fire culture. Like, I think we saw the weight of people collectively being like, here are the receipts for the individual or the institution that has wronged this specific group of people, and it's been going on for so long, no one's done anything about it. And I think we initially saw this with like all these allegations of sexual harassment, where it's like, hey, this keeps happening, and we've gone public, we've talked about it, and nothing has happened. And then now we're seeing, hey, XYZ celebrities have said something, we're all now deciding we're not going to be a part of this person's financial gain. And now you hit people where the most damage is done, which is in their pockets. So I think initially people noticed, great, if we want to actually, you know, affect change and do things, you saw a lot of Black Twitter like, great, we're just going to pull money away from these companies until a change happens. And so we definitely saw in the beginning of these things, this became a hot button thing of a cool, like people are calling us out, and we either can make a statement that is like foot and mouth, and then we, you know, have to fix it later, or we can fix it now. And I think that's what we kind of saw in the initial beginning. But what I do think ended up happening is once it became politicized in terms of like, oh, like these people of color are coming for these mostly right-wing businesses. Like, well, what about so-and-so? Aren't they also wrong? And it became a whole combat of like, well, we're going to call out people on the right, people on the left, and try to like, you know, it became more of a political term than I think it initially even began as. It definitely began from a place of like of change and a necessary for change. But I do think that over time it's definitely become weaponized, and it definitely seems to come up when someone takes the spotlight. I think there, with both these scenarios, we definitely see the two types of cancel culture. What you see with this whole Joss Whedon thing is like, hey, like Hollywood as a whole knows this person is terrible, but apparently no one thought to prepare or warn Ray Fisher or anyone else that worked with him. They're like, hey, this guy's kind of a bad person. We're going to have, you know, the supplemental material needed for you to be successful in this role, in this occupation. Of course, it wasn't provided. So you have someone who's like calling out the director, but not only is he calling out, but he's calling out to other people like, hey, this person's a bad person, and people know that this, maybe if you all help me, this case can be pushed along. And of course, we saw that once people on the internet started pushing Warner Bros. Like, hey, like he keeps saying this thing, and then other celebrities started seeing this hashtag or seeing this conversation. That bigger conversation then caused, hey, let's actually do this case with Fisher. He's really upset, and like he's getting the internet behind him. And that's again gonna hit us in our pocket. We don't want to upset that bottom line. So again, I think a lot of this calling out definitely all attaches to like, great, we know where we have to go, which is like affecting advertisers, affecting sponsorship. So I definitely think with the Joss Whedon one, we definitely saw the beginning of that. With his other, you know, secondary, tertiary information about him, all we're getting is like, great, he still wasn't. He's been bad for a while now, and if anything, this just shines a light on great. Like, this might happen again to where he'll upset someone by being mean to them, and they're like, great, like I had to endure hell working with this director, and of course, I think it crossed the line, and of course, the hope is that now Hollywood knows, hey, he crossed the line, keep your eye on him, and hopefully Joss Whedon knows, and now we know as the internet, great, like we're gonna, be, sending our prayers and wishes for whoever decides to sign on show a movie with them. And who knows, maybe this might even effectively change how Joss does interact on set now. Maybe this was his push of like, great, now that Warner Brothers came at me because like they're upset about their bottom line, I want to keep getting hired to be director. I need to also change how I'm behaving. So I think that, of course, affects the culture, which is we need it. And it's going to hopefully go into positive. With the Gina thing, we again see with the internet have been calling out Gina for forever on everything. And again, this is taking small hits. And if you talk to Pedro, like they even had an agreement on set where like, we're all just going to agree to disagree. We're not going to talk anything else about it. If we're on set together, we're not going to talk about what we talk about online. And you definitely can see there was like some, like this in season 2, she had like ridiculously less lines and less screen time, and that's most likely a direct effect of her interacting outside. And I think the hope for Disney is that great, she's being hired less, we're hitting her pockets, she's fully aware of what she's doing, the line is wrong, people are telling her that, we're probably also telling her, hey, keep it down. So again, you have that factor, like we're checking in with her and we're trying to get her to stop. She's not stopping. And then finally, she does the Holocaust thing on the eve of the insurrection, and then that quickly pushes great. Not only is it like super a faux pas to be pro-insurrection, it's also super faux pas to mention that you're as persecuted as the people that absolutely were almost extinct from the world. So again, she like doubled down on a double down. Like, great, we fully have to step away. We've done our diligence. Pedro's spoken to her. We've all spoken to her. Nothing's happening. I think that's like a really important thing. But I think all in all, there are great moments, but then there are also lows. And I think what we're seeing, like Ray said, like there's a lot of folks who tend to go backwards. Like if you want to talk about Michael Vick and Kevin Hart, these are two people that Michael Vick got arrested, served jail time, lost all his dogs, had to pay a fine, did community service, served all those things, was released from jail. But whenever he's brought up in being a part of a project, people are quick to be like, I'm not going to be part of it because of his past. But it's like, hey, he served that time. And for all we know, he's fully changed around. Like he's not involved in that illicit activity anymore. So that's someone who has, guess what, changed and such a consequence. Kevin Hart made a bunch of bad jokes that are really homophobic. And again, he has, throughout his career, has had to make an apology over and over again. But again, he gets on stage to be a potential Oscar host, and now everyone's like, no, he can't, because what he said in 2003, and he's like, I fully talked about that. But with both these individuals, what ends up happening is it works in the reverse. These people hit up these companies who want to work with them. They're like, don't work with him. He's a terrible person. And they're like, well, we're seeing a lot of people on social media who are showing, a little, negativity for this person. This could affect our bottom line. Let's preemptively pull out and like not partner with them. And I think it works in that negative, and I think what it comes down to is knowing and trusting as a company that great. And I think, again, this comes down to capitalism. Like, can we trust these individual companies to handle it in-house and do it in a way that's going to be justifiably done? No. And then the second part, great, can we trust them to also notice that someone has, again, served their time and changed? And the answer would be hopefully yes. But again, what we're noticing is that on that latter end, companies aren't doing their due diligence and be like, great, you've served your time, you've made the adequate amount of service that's needed to be to regain and rebuild this connection. We're going to stick with you through this because, again, you've shown us tangible evidence of you being an individual that's growing and for growth. And I think that's what we need to see. And I think that's why I know, was it James Gunn that initially got removed from a movie, but then they brought him back. Of like, actually, James, you're absolutely right. You definitely did address you made some bad statements in the past, and you acknowledged your Twitter back in the day was horrendous. And also since then, you've been partnering with a bunch of individuals and corporations to do better. We're going to bring you back. I think that's what we're hoping and what needs to be done in the future when it comes to this consequence culture is companies be like, great, the internet's gonna call us out when we do something wrong, but also we need to also trust our judgment that this individual has done their due diligence of being a good person and say, great, we hear you, we understand this happened. Here's what they did. We're sticking with them. And we're going to go with it. I mean, because otherwise you wind up with comedians like Dave Chappelle, who his whole stand-up now is attacking this incorrect use of counterculture of like, hey, like here's where they did it wrong, and I'm gonna like say, great, maybe you shouldn't have people be angry at me for saying transphobic homophobic things, but it's like, yeah, but both those things are true. We consider banditry though, but both those things are true. So I think with this comes that balancing act of like, great. On the one hand, it's useful because we think that being rich and powerful or being a celebrity is going to like really garner a lot of effective change. And the reality is, unless they're like, trying to pull off a crop top, they can't really do much unless they have like Jay-Z money, So they can do like aesthetic changes to like policies, but they can't do anything fundamental. That comes from the people in the fan base of like, great, I'm saying we need to all do this to like affect change, and then funneling the energy that way. But I guess that's one of the major ways to do so. And of course, we still need to, fix the latter and of like, great, we can acknowledge and see change, and we're going to ignore these trolls who are just coming out to be trolls and saying, cancel that person. It's like, great, we hear you. They've done enough to like repair, they've done a full RC, a restorative justice circle with the people involved. We trust and feel safe enough with this person to progress.
Hold on.
Wait, no, I don't want an applause. I don't want any of that.
It's too late.
But again, like Rick said, though, this is a hot button issue. I mean, Fox News has several segments where they, again, are incorrectly calling out cancel culture as like, this person says something racist, sexist, and transphobic. Why did they lose their job? Cancel culture's at it again. So we get to see like, how it can be construed, but also I think it comes down to being, like Ray said, being acceptable of people who are changing and acknowledging that change is what we want out of this whole thing. And if we see it, we don't need to pursue anything else. If there is an active change, we got it. Unless it's Woody Allen and then Roman Polanski. Again, and also I think cancel culture is coming back in a big way because there are these celebrity documentaries that keep dropping about like, hey, like I've been wronged for years and no one, and like again, there's been people who've been trying to support me, but more or less has been like straight on judgment, i.e. Britney Spears, and how like she got shit on for her entire career, and it took this documentary to have people like to have these amazing and noteworthy and female journalists be really like kind of gross about her like whole thing, and they're like, hey, I'm sorry, that was really rude. And like as a woman in journalism, I can definitely understand that like, oh, I should have taken my spotlight and my opportunity to just ignore those hype questions and talk to like a human being, and I didn't do that. So yeah, I think like cancel culture is being brought back because again, it's bringing up a lot of these documentaries, the R. Kelly documentary. There's just a lot of just these personal videos coming out, and this like actual proof and tangible evidence of like, hey, this person was done wrong, and we need to effectively make change, and that might mean directing these comments at the individuals responsible for causing this harm.
Agreed. To bubble off that Britney Spears documentary, Justin Timberlake, in that documentary, he had a little segment about how he basically just had inappropriate comments about Britney when interviewed about her, as far as like sleeping with her and what he thought about her. But, that also included, like, his actions of, like, the whole thing with Janet Jackson, we all know how he does his music, how he acts in interviews around black people. I don't know if you guys ever saw the Ellen interview he had with SZA, and how he kept interrupting SZA. I saw that. I was so mad. I was like, he's a shut up. Like, he's getting on my nerves. But it's so funny how he did that for years, and he, at least he never apologized. At the least he didn't apologize to Janet. He didn't apologize to Britney because, again, same type of guy doing what he wanted. And it took people flooding social media to be like, he wrote an apology on his Instagram or whatever, saying, I'm sorry, da, da, da. And I'm just like, so if this documentary never came out, would he just continue living his life? Mm-hmm. And the people who knew the truth are just gonna be like, I don't like Justin Timberlake because of what he did.
5-minute clip got him to apologize.
Right.
That's crazy to me.
After like 15, 20 years.
5 minutes.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right, I mean, but it's just interesting.
SNL did a whole skit about how, like, hey, you need to, like, it was like a Britney Spears sketch where it was sponsored by the Notepad app, where it's like, if you need to copy and paste an apology on Instagram, Notepad app. And it's just like, that's tangible. That is an accurate depiction of what happened. And, like, people gave her I will say there was one journalist that gave, like, the most BS response of, like, I only reported what people were interested in.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, mister, I was just doing my job, Brittany. Sorry I talked to you about your virginity when you were a young lady.
Right. And your boobs. A lot of people crossed the line back in the day for Brittany. And, I follow a lot of Brittany things throughout the years. And it just really was crazy that no one was helping this lady. And it really was the fans who are like, can someone check on Brittany? Because, fans be stalking and they find out things, and it's on Twitter. They talk about if she's in rehab, they talk about how her father held her hostage. I didn't know that until someone on Twitter said that, and then I was like, is this confirmed? And people were like, yeah, it's confirmed, because she was posting these weird videos on Instagram, and it was like, you guys, her father is still like in charge of everything. And I'm like, but she's a grown-ass woman. It doesn't matter. And so it's interesting how in this case a documentary had all the facts to display people who had harmed this person who did not have a voice. And, we got an apology for Justin, but then her father, lost custody. So it's interesting to see.
He didn't lose custody. He didn't lose custody. No, sorry, Marlon, go ahead.
They have a court case.
They're sharing the thing with the bank or the person. I don't know. Something is being shared. It's a co-thing now. He's still involved.
Upsetting. That's so upsetting, but okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, because typically conservatorship is for the senile. Yeah. I was like, cool. My mama is 86, so I just need to take care of her funds so that no one can so she doesn't just give money away or give it to someone who she trust. So it's very strange. It happens to someone who's as young as she is, but what it takes is, of course, the psych report of hey, she had this a psychiatric episode, and and because she's literally just been videotaped and recorded her whole life, every news clip of her with the shaved head and fighting paparazzi, they just played that clip in the courtroom here's what she's capable of if she doesn't have someone watching her. And of course, this woman also lost full custody of her kids for a while. That's also something
those are her worlds, her kids. She loves her kids. So I was just I would lose my mind too. You're just setting it up, you know? So.
Well, they kind of use the kids as a way to get her to do things too.
Yeah.
You have your kids, you have to, nod your head, as we say. It's ridiculous.
Messy. So yeah, you guys, consequence culture. It's still happening. There's a lot of people that we kind of skipped over, but those were the main things that that was talked about last week in the news. As far as finding a solution, again, I think these should also, I kind of think back towards last year when we had the Black Lives Matter protests and discussions and demanding justice for, just Black people everywhere in every career field. And I mentioned that because when I was looking at Gina and they were asking her well, your Star Wars coworkers were talking about Black Lives Matter. Do you believe in Black Lives Matter? And she's like, in my experience, screaming someone that they're racist when they are not a racist. And any post and research you do will show these facts, but you guys are bullies, for saying that. And I'm like, okay, Gina, we just asked you a question, but whatever. Anyway, but the fact that they had demanded justice and some companies were hip to that to create standards and change their, the way they ran their business so that there wasn't a whole preventing people from opportunities, it should be somewhat similar. If people just need basic rights, like don't be abusive, don't be hurting people and getting away with it. Like, I don't understand why this is not a industry standard for 80, 90 years since Hollywood was started. It's crazy. Like, that's why I feel like for, if you're signing up for a contract to do anything in media, you got to understand you represent the brand. And I think some of these celebrities forget that, especially with Gina. She's, girl, how are you going to forget that? And you're so worried about your freedom of speech. And Disney was very lenient. They tried, With Josh Whedon, it was a little bit different because it was like people just didn't want to touch it. Like they were afraid, I guess, of it ruining their chances, kind of like with Britney Justin thing. Don't touch it or ruin your chances. And that needs to stop. It's like if you see something, say something, stop. There should be an industry so that if you do cross that line, then you are getting your consequence. You should not be surprised. I think people walk in, see money and fame, do whatever they want, keep going, and that becomes a pattern for them. And so that's what I think should happen, is create strict guidelines. I mean, it's like, we're educators. You have your expectations of class. You break these expectations. What happens? There are consequences.
You get sent to Marlin.
You get consequences. And then you do those consequences and you reflect on your choices and be better. I don't understand. Like, I feel like that's what should happen. Someone needs to hire a whole bunch of educators for Hollywood and be like, what do y'all want? Okay, I'm writing them down.
That'll never happen.
Any of y'all anyone break these rules, y'all got to do X, Y, Z.
Nice.
And if you still cross, then you're going to prison and you're never having a job in the industry again. Simple as that.
Not to take away from what you're saying right now, because I agree with you. It's just that you said at a point during all us talking about Black Lives Matter and everything we need to check up on these companies a certain amount of time down the road. I honestly, now that you're talking about it now, it just dinged in my head. I think it's time to start checking on these companies because it's been 6+ months. Like, it's
Black History Month too.
Like, what have y'all actually done? Because I don't actually know much of anything.
I don't
know. Aunt Jemima.
Look back at that box. Go look back at that box.
It's called like Pioneer Syrup or something.
It's called Pioneer Syrup.
Yeah.
I still have one that has her name on it.
Look at that box, and you will find the name Aunt Jemima on that box.
Currently, yes. I bought one recently. Wait, it does have her name on it.
So is the Aunt Jemima syrup bottle gonna be worth something? Like, it's like, I got the original before it changed. Is it gonna be like that?
You'll see it on eBay. We'll find out.
Her name is still on that box. Zoom in, Marlon.
Let the audience see the truth.
I know. I'm
telling you to look at the box. Zoom into the box, Marlon.
The box
literally
Pearl mining. Well, that's what they release. If you go to the store, that's not on the store shelves yet, though.
Okay, so look again because you're not looking. I'm looking. To me.
Okay, so Ray is right. It says new name, same great taste, Aunt Jemima, but it's very small.
Oh, it is very small.
Little yellow thing. Huh. Only wears it's like Jemima.
Just so you know, in case you forgot.
There's no black lady on there now. It's just called Pearl Milling Company.
It's called.
I still call it Pioneer Syrup, and I don't know why.
The name of the company that owned all the slaves that made the Aunt Jemima bread. Wow, it was
basically pioneers, pilgrims. Pilgrim syrup.
It's like Land
so white
O'Lakes all over
syrup.
again.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Right.
We took the land and we got rid of the indigenous person.
And then we call it Land O'Lakes and put a person on it.
Washington
football team.
But to pivot away from these serious comments, I do want to give you all a Crunchyroll Anime Award winners of the year review. Just real briefly, real fast. A huge shout out to Jujutsu Kaisen. Anime of the year.
Yay!
And also took home Best Antagonist and a well-deserved award, Best Ending Sequence.
Yes.
Lost in Paradise is a slap. It is.
You twerk to it.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the overall theme of the show, but when it comes on, you let that thing play. You let them swag out and
everybody
dance,
swags out.
do a little move.
Yeah.
Literally, you can watch someone get dismembered and die within the little, and it comes on. It's like, yeah, gotta get on. Get on. All right, I feel it. I love it.
It's true.
Yeah. Also, big. I think the biggest contention is best fight scene. My Hero Academia season 4, Deku versus Overhaul.
Yes.
We're debating whether or not it should have been that fight that won best fight scene of the year within the anime itself.
What actually won?
Well, no, so that did win, but people were saying that there are much better fight scenes that should have been on there besides the Deku versus Overhaul one.
I completely agree with that statement.
I agree, but wasn't that the fight where he went 100% for like a good 60 seconds? And I remember I was screaming. I was like, ah! He's like, go pow! And I was like, ah! But because the girl was on him, so he wouldn't feel the pain. But I was losing my mind because finally we got to have a glimpse of him being 100%. And he was super, super Saiyan. It was, I'm sorry, like, that fight might have been whatever, but that scene took me out. I think I blacked out right after that. It was amazing.
What were you gonna say, Ray?
I won't fight Cat that I was hype. I can't get behind it being the best fight because Overhaul was just, I'm a big monster guy, even though I have the most broken power since All for One, but that's fine.
Right.
Let's just go. Let me go Godzilla mode. Our friend said something about that the other day, and I was just like, yeah, no, you got a point. Why was he just in big monster? I'm a crazy person mode when like literally all he had to do was touch Deku and the fight was done. Like,
for those who don't know, Overhaul's powers literally is touching people and they fully combust.
Yeah.
Oh, he can pull them and put them together. He can pull them apart and put them together.
But
yeah,
more or less, he just needs to like have tactile touch. And the battle, instead of being a game of keep away and don't tag me, turned into like a kaiju fight, but with like a small person fighting a kaiju.
I don't know.
With a little girl riding on his back.
As hype as I got for that fight as it was happening, in hindsight, it wasn't like amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The episode itself was good. It was great. The fight was good, but I really believe there was another fight, maybe inside the building, because that was like a whole story arc where they were rescuing people. I want to say the fight with Kirishima, Kiri, I call him Kiri, when you heard his backstory and how he gets like, he can make his body be like really hard. I think that fight was better than the fight that Deku was doing, because that was the first time I actually got to see him fight. And he could have died, but he was just, and then he had what's his name? Fat Gum with him. And yeah, that was a smaller fight, but I was just like, dang. And then that whole fight, we had to fight like 3 of those villains in that room. Like, that was a great episode too. So yeah, I think there were better fights, but I think that one just had more shock value.
I can give you a fight right now that should have definitely won.
Did you see Kaizen?
Million versus Overhaul. That fight should have been number 1.
Oh,
the fight where he learns fear for the first time, and he's just like, that fight should have, for me. I was about to say
that was where Sir Night Eye was too, right?
Mm-hmm, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was that one was much better. But
he just like hits like him a bunch of times, and he's just like, I'm not going down. And it's just like he gets like afraid. I'm like, I love when a hero can make a villain be like, I've made a mistake. Like a real big bad villain, like she'll like, I feel uncomfortable. Like that's a feeling of like, oh, this is about to get wild.
Well, so my next question is, what other fights were nominated besides that?
Oh, I can look that up, but of course you need to fill the space while I do so.
This was like 2020, right?
I mean,
2021.
I mean, like 2020 stuff, because Demon Slayer.
Do they do earlier too?
But I'm just trying to think of the anime from last year, because we had that. Jujutsu Kaisen didn't come into the end of the year, so I don't know if that was counted, because I was like, there was some crazy fight. I mean, for a first season, they had some pretty crazy fights, but I don't know if they made that cut. I can't think of a.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Here are the best fight scene nominations.
Wait, hold on.
What do you got? What's over there?
Never mind. Go ahead. I can't figure it out right now. It's too much stuff.
We have, I don't know, half of these anime. We have Berkoli versus Dark God Vecta, Sword Art Online.
Oh.
Alicization, War of the Underworld Part 2.
Oh, okay.
We have Brawler versus Master, Akudama Drive.
Never seen that.
Another one. Of course, we have Deku versus Overhaul, My Hero Academia Season 4. We have, this is actually a fun one if you've seen this anime. Jin Mori versus Han Dewey, the god of high school.
Yes, okay.
That was...
Okay, see, I knew there had to be another... Yeah, okay.
First of all, that whole anime is about just throwing hands nonstop, so this fight scene was definitely up there. And then, of course, and another one from God of High School, Jin Mori versus Jiggle Take. God of High School got tuned out because, again, this is a full anime about throwing hands. So I'm surprised it didn't win. I mean, that whole
anime, I am surprised.
Literally, they're in like a boxing ring, so they're just like throwing full hands, and there's like some power, but it's mostly like just throwing fast fists at people. But again, there were some good nominations there, but I think that the Late Million versus Overhaul fight definitely. It wasn't. I guess they were looking for more of like an over the top kind of fight, and that fight's kind of like one sided, and I get that. And I guess going full kaiju is just over the top enough to be like, yeah, that's good. Let's see that one. That was a good one.
And because it's My Hero Academia. Which comes out next month, you guys. 5th season. Hey. Amy, do you have anything to add today? I know. We will have our Attack on Titan discussion in about a month, you guys.
I have a question for you.
Yes. For Amy, okay.
I saw the other day, I won't say who showed it to us, but I saw the other day that there's some rumor that Jennifer Lawrence might play Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four
forgot
movie.
My door's closed.
Thanks, I totally forgot about that. That was yesterday, wasn't it?
Some thoughts about this.
No, okay, so I just wanted to vent for like 2 minutes. Kat, feel free to jump in if you need to. So there was this really stupid rumor because it's really dumb, and I don't know why anyone would put this to paper or the internet for that matter. But there was some rumor that Jennifer Lawrence was going to possibly be cast as Sue Storm in the next Fantastic Four film, because God knows we need another one of those that hopefully doesn't suck. And I don't know, if anyone has watched Jennifer Lawrence in like the X-Men films, specifically Dark Phoenix, and you really watched that film, she was like, whoever came up with this thought didn't see that movie. And they just made this dumbass assumption because she's this white girl who kind of looks like Sue Storm. And I mean, no, Jennifer Lawrence should not be anywhere near a superhero film ever again because she doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't care. She doesn't like it. She's not into it. And if you're not into it, don't be a part of it because it comes off as you're watching it. That's all I wanted to say. Just wanted to vent that. No, never, ever, ever, ever again. The end.
Not my Fantastic Four.
Not my Fantastic Four. And I think I kind of said this to you guys. She has been on record saying that, she doesn't like being in movies like X-Men or franchise because, she doesn't
as the Hunger Games star.
Right. As, for her, the hard thing for her was putting on makeup for many hours and just, saying them horrible lines and, it was kind of beneath her. So I was like...
The writing wasn't great. I can give her that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But
you could feel her not want to be there. Like, when you can feel an actor not wanting to be there, that's horrible as an audience member. It's so shitty.
Yeah, and I'm like, if she wants to be a part now, it's just obviously for the money and the fame, which I'm not going to hate on. I'm just saying that those are facts. Like, she's coming in as a non-fan of the fandom,
Absolutely.
I feel like with Marvel now, they take their time to either getting people who are interested in the role, so they learn the history of the character through comics, so they give them all the comics they should read, and the person reads it, or the actor's already a comic book fan, so they're just like already super hyped and excited. And Jennifer Lawrence is neither of those things, so
I like her.
I really hope
no more.
Yeah, I just really hope that She doesn't.
Well, I feel like she's she's gotten her Oscars, so maybe she's feeling a little bit too high and mighty for the Soups films anymore. She got her got her Oscar. She has her image to uphold. There was like some actor, homeboy that played the lizard in that Andrew Garfield movie, the one that came to Comic-Con and like shit talked all the nerds about how like gross and dumb their activities were. He said, I was like, I don't do comic book films. I'm more or less interested in actual works of art. I feel like he's the kind of guy.
Wow.
I forget the guy. He played Lizard, and he was just super drunk at Comic-Con, and it was just
that's the way to go.
He was just a real dick about how like dumb comic book films are, and how he just didn't like the movie. And like, bro, you are in it. You like cash that check, but you do it. But again, I feel like J. Law's like, you know what? I'm gonna badmouth these movies, and it's giving me the exact same energy of like, I don't even like superhero films. That's why I was so bad, because I didn't care about it.
That was the first movie, huh? I went straight to the second one. My bad.
Are you looking for the homeboy? He's in a few things, but yeah, he just I remember like because like I remember like the video of him, like I saw a video of him at Comic-Con, and you can tell like he was just sloshed and was just in a mood.
Oh, Riz Ifans. I know who that guy is. He's like a English.
Has he done anything since then?
He's done
any since then?
He was Luna Lovegood's dad in the Harry Potter movie. That guy.
Yeah, 5 minutes of screen time probably.
No, even you know who I'm talking about.
The same shit. What do you mean? He was in Harry Potter. That's so funny.
I mean, every actor I usually talk about is in Harry
irony.
Potter. I mean, he was in Notting Hill. He played Spike, which I think was like what's his name's best friend. I didn't see that movie. But and then I don't watch CBS's Elementary, but he plays Mycroft, which I think is interesting. But he couldn't play Lizard in Spider-Man. Okay. And he played Luna Lovegood. Fuck. Okay.
Interesting.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, good movie.
Hey, stop.
Oh, this was fun.
Controversial thoughts.
Okay, so I don't know if I told you. I told everybody. I worked on that film, and it was very interesting. And seeing that film, I was like, "This ain't it." But okay,
this ain't
I'm getting paid. I'm not gonna say much, but and then I saw it, and I was like,
"It might not be the word."
Yeah, I pretty much just stuck to this thing, but that movie, no.
Yeah, there's a day that I'm gonna ask you to prove to me that movie is that Homecoming is better than that movie.
Then 2?
Versus
Homecoming better than Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, prove it.
Hella better. The end. I'm going for it.
Break out your twine, cat.
We gotta twine battle that one these days.
Homecoming.
I think I got you beat.
That'd be some great website content.
Yeah, I got you beat on that one, I think.
Okay, I have to go into my office and pull out my files and start making charts.
Mysterious files of cat.
It's not. What's a really easy one to throw out there, and when it comes to Spider-Man, is that Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
because that's just correct. But
I mean, okay, Homecoming had a better villain. That was already top tier already compared to Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think that's the only thing it had.
Oh, okay. Homecoming had Tony Stark.
That's not the same thing.
She's like, there was a cameo.
Every time you popped up, you weren't like, okay, what's Tony gonna say? Oh, okay, cool. Ha ha ha.
That's Tony. True. But I mean, like, sure, if the Sonyverse had a high caliber actor that had such backstory as Avengers 2, 3 Iron Man movies, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's cheating, because Disney just implanted the most popular character of their entire franchise to help upsell the Spider-Man movie.
Or
that's cheating.
It was already written in the design, because for him to be in Homecoming was a long con, because that still led up to Endgame. and to where we are.
This feels like a longer debate that needs to happen.
That's a whole nother. Not on a WandaVision, but Doctor Strange in the multiverse. Hello, Homecoming's a part of that. So
that's a whole other twine.
Check.
Was any of that intended when they wrote? I'll even give you when they wrote Iron Man 3. Was any of that intended?
And, yeah, it was.
No,
it really was. I didn't think at first someone was like, "It's a PTSD movie," and I was like, "Oh."
Marlon's literally eating popcorn as you guys go at it.
No.
I think this is perfect. This could be the image of the episode.
They could not have had a single plan for that Spider-Man movie when Iron Man 3 was that far back in time. That's just
true, but you have good writers that can grasp that thread and make it flow. You gotta love the Marvel writers.
Amazing Spider-Man. I don't even think Amazing Spider-Man 1 had come out at that time. Like, there's no way they were writing Homecoming.
What about the directors?
Spider-Man came out 2012, so it came out a little. It came out before. I want to say it came out maybe. When did Iron Man 3 come out? After that, right? It came out after Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, Amazing Spider-Man 1 was 2012.
Okay, so
Iron Man 3 was 2013. All right, so it came out a year later. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, but anyway, that's a twine for another day. We got too involved in that.
I see a hand from Amy.
No, I'm saying 5 minutes.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We were just entertaining our fans, you guys. Let us know what was better, Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man Homecoming. It's obviously Spider-Man Homecoming, so please let Ray know in all the comments.
Watch out for a future Twine video of Kat versus Raymond coming to geekforce. Whatever in the future.
Peter Parker in Homecoming is just Miles Morales for white.
It is. I'm not gonna disagree on that. That they definitely stole Miles Morales' character and put it on Tom Holland's Peter Parker to make him the cool guy. I'm not gonna say no to that, which is why I feel like Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man, because I feel it's the most accurate Spider-Man. Yeah, I agree there, but that's another conversation for another day.
It is.
Our Spider-Man episode. Okay, but with that said, you guys, thank you for another. That was great. Anyway, with that said, we are. I'm wrapping up today. Thank you guys for such a great and enlightening conversation. I hope you guys had fun talking about it. I hope our listeners took, note on what we were saying. Please let us know your thoughts and comments. You can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. With that said, hey, it's another week. You should go watch a movie. You should go play a game. You should go check out all the anime that won all the Crunchyroll awards, because it's great. But until then, you guys, love each other, be kind to one another, and geek on.
Cool.
You forgot something to watch.